So next up, we've got James to come and present on Simpl B.
Cool, thank you. And there's the countdown timer. Yeah. Cool. Oh, which button do I press? Oh, arrow.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, thank you. Hi guys, thanks for coming today, and yeah, I'm here to introduce Simpl Bitcoin to you. We're one of those other guys. We're the regulated financial rails into Bitcoin. I've been helping people to understand Bitcoin across a coffee table since about 2016. Helped 1,000 people to buy their first Bitcoin and put it into self-custody. Self-custody is the only way to hold Bitcoin, and I'm quite passionate about ensuring that people move off exchanges and into self-custodial Bitcoin. So Simpl B allows people to do procurement and then security strategy around how to hold your Bitcoin safely, not just for you, but what happens when you die, what happens if you're holding Bitcoin in a company. And so, you know, our goal is really to build education around Bitcoin. And so to that end, I've done quite a lot of teaching, training, and getting people started in Bitcoin throughout the years. Rule number one for my clients is self-custody. So a lot of the work I do, the clients I work with, they grow education and knowledge on how to do this. If you are trying to do self-custody and you're putting in 1,000 Rand, it doesn't make sense to buy a Trezor. Rather spend 3,000 Rand on more Bitcoin. So, you know, we have a guide document that goes from how to open a Blockstream Green wallet. That's been downloaded about 2,500 times over the years. And distributed freely. And then all the way up to the multi-signature vault, which is Simpl's main product for institutional grade custody. So we implement exactly the same strategy that the guys in the UK have used to build the first pension funds structures. So in the UK, there's a pension fund that's allocated 5% to Bitcoin, and they use exactly the same structure that we use at Simpl. So it's internationally best practice, and I think the main focus is that it's native to Bitcoin. You're not reliant on one party or one company to keep operating and keep delivering when you use the Simpl model. It's simple, native to Bitcoin, and very important. In order to get this going and working in South Africa, what we've built is the easiest way to dollar cost average into Bitcoin or Rand cost average into Bitcoin. Our clients do an EFT to our partner exchanges. As soon as the funds settle, we buy Bitcoin. So if you're on a Friday afternoon, you see a nice dip in the price, you do an instant EFT, you'll have Bitcoin within 15 minutes. This is much better because it takes away a lot of the confusion that exchanges introduce. They are terrible shitcoin casinos, as we call them. And a lot of people end up buying Bitcoin Cash because it's cheaper. Sorry for the bad language, and other tokens, you know, and so we want to make sure that people get Bitcoin when they want to get Bitcoin. So you do an EFT, we buy the Bitcoin, and we transfer it to your self-custody automatically. It's actually a thing of beauty to see it working, and we're seeing people really starting to use this to start saving in Bitcoin, and that's, you know, what I'm really passionate about. The main focus is that Bitcoin is for everyone. Doing 1,000 customers at 1,000 Rand a month doesn't really make financial sense. But I'm working with listed entities, with big companies, corporate treasuries, and helping them to legally and compliantly set up a Bitcoin custody, self-custody solution that's managed with Simpl Bitcoin. The earlier slide showed that I hold one key and my clients hold two keys in a multi-signature vault. And that allows me to have oversight and as a regulated entity, to see what they're doing, to be reportable, but not to have any control. And so the client has full ownership of his Bitcoin, always. And then we work with companies on how to structure that in their company to make sure they don't ever lose their Bitcoin. My goal is that you get Bitcoin and you never lose it. And a lot of what I do is education and training. Yeah, we've been growing. It's been a phenomenal 14 months since we launched and signed our first client. Obviously, I've been doing it since 2016, but as a regulated entity, we started fresh. And yeah, we're busy raising capital. We're looking to actually improve our onboarding experience, and I'm here looking and connecting with devs to look at how to build the next phase and reach and orange pull the next 100,000 people. And yeah, we're really expanding our services to grow Bitcoin and Bitcoin adoption in South Africa. You'll see me at all the conferences. You'll see me around. I've written a book, The Strategic Reserve, and my last slide is also not working. There it is. A little bit of proof of work. I've written about 40 articles that are on my own website. I do media interviews. The goal is really to get the word of Bitcoin out there and get people understanding what it is and how it can actually impact their lives. It's the savings tool that can really impact Africa. Thank you.
Cool, thanks very much, James. Do we have any questions for James? Let me be the runner here. We just want questions to come on the mic so the live feed can hear you as well.
I'm curious on the DCA slide, how you're handling, or maybe your clients are DCAing at sizes, but the UTXO management, so they're not putting 100 Rand UTXOs into a Trezor. Like, how are you handling that?
Great question. And yeah, so for our DCAs, what we're doing with clients who are doing less than 10 grand at a time, we consolidate until we have 10,000 Rand as a withdrawal amount, and then we send that over. So that's part of why we need to build, because we need to get into Lightning so that we're not holding those funds for, that can be a couple of months while we wait for guys who are saving. I don't have thousands of customers at that level at this stage. Because although we have the custodial structure, we don't want to use it. And then we also have a few clients who are slow to learn about how to actually set up that wallet. But it takes going to their house and sitting with them and ensuring that they do it properly. But that's education, and that's the nature of this game at the moment, where we're trying to break through and get people to start understanding it. If it was easy, look, they wouldn't need us. Our goal is to make it simple.
Proof of work. Any other questions? I've got one more question. Also, with regards to the DCA, you mentioned your exchange partners. Are you allowed to mention where you're buying Bitcoin from? What exchanges?
Yeah, certainly. So we actually partnered with Valor and Luno locally in South Africa. Obviously, they have the most liquidity, and most of our clients end up working on Valor. So we're using them at this stage. The goal is to build a Bitcoin-only exchange, and to step away from these shitcoin casinos. But getting off the ground has been phenomenal. And as I said earlier, we're kind of profitable. We're trying to see how we can really take Bitcoin and eliminate all the risk. We don't need those other things. Bitcoin is the technology of the future. So thanks.
Any more questions? Okay, we got one more over here. I think let's make it the last question.
I'm just curious what the regulators wanted to see in terms of, like, obviously you're not walking around as the single key holder for the company with your Trezor in your back pocket. What did they want to see in terms of security from a regulated perspective?
Yeah, actually, the role of holding one key in a multi-sig vault is an administrative service, not a financial service. Based on our understanding of the law. So they didn't really dig down into our model except in our documentation that we presented, how everything does work. They didn't have a problem with that. So that's quite important. Obviously, that all needs to be tested in a court of law before laws really come into force and effect. But yeah, the goal is really just to deliver the service and keep our clients' funds safe. And if we can do that successfully, the sky's the limit. Yeah. Cool.
So just for interest's sake, because it is my space, I just wanted to explain to you in terms of what the regulator's actually done here. They've pretty much done a blanket to try and get entities into regulation. It's like stage one, and it's taken them about 2 years. It's literally just whatever you're doing, if it's crypto related, if it's Bitcoin related, it's a blanket. They call them CASPs, crypto asset service providers. And your exchanges like Luno, Valor that he mentioned, companies doing what he's doing, companies doing any kind of crypto related as they see it, they've widened the net, both on the financial surveillance side, which is one regulator, the Financial Intelligence Center, and the other being the Financial Conduct Authority, the FSCA or FISCA. And both of those have just kind of blanket said, everyone doing something in this space is coming in. And the next stage will probably be digging in a little bit deeper to people doing different types of things and where different types of risks may lie. So yeah, at the moment it's blanket. There was a kind of a grandfathering in at the end of November 2023, and there's people that have applied at that point that still don't have their licenses issued. I think they kind of wanted to go for the big exchanges like Luna and understand how things are working at that level, and then are going to start digging down in terms of what everyone is doing. But it's seen as a financial product, and the blanket is quite wide at this point, just for interest sake. Guys, yeah, I don't think we've got any other speakers for this, so we're going to close this stage for now, this Pechakuch-Style presentation. For those of you attending and just attendees, just remember this is probably going to be something that you could do. So if you want to pitch your project at some point as an attendee, my understanding of the idea is that you'd be able to do that. So for those attendees, take note for next time, you may be able to present something quickly at this style presentation.